Right, I've just met Cath from Aspro, and she's just briefed me on her requirements. The organisation needs a new corporate ID, which fundamentally it means developing a logo, but beyond that it means developing corporate guidelines and all the other items usually associated with an identity. So that can be things like associated strap lines, colour schemes, and also, you know, clients find it useful to give, even though we won't be doing finished brochures or whatever, it's very useful to give clients guidance within the guidelines on things like posters, brochures, whatever they might need in the future, so that their identity is going to be consistently applied even if other designers do the work in the future. She also pointed out that she wanted to focus test the work that we did for the identities. Now this is a very sensible approach because it means you get the opinions of a wider range of people, and it can certainly help the designer guide them down the right track. She also pointed out that she wanted a website developed, and of course that will need to be tested as well. Now the process that we'll go through with her is, first of all, we will draw up a contract which will specify everything that she will get in the job. It will indicate exactly the jobs that we'll do, so as I've just pointed out, she'll get a logo and the corporate guidelines for her identity, but it'll also point out things like the costs involved, when we expect to be paid for those costs, the payment schedule, and also the timescales, how long we're going to take to do the job. When we do identity development jobs, there are a range of costs that it can actually be, and usually, you know, it can range from maybe just $1,000 to just produce a logo and nothing else, or it can range up to $5,000 or even $10,000 if people want extensive corporate guidelines that ensure that their identity is applied across a whole range of media, whether that be brochures, posters, banners, new media elements. So the cost can vary greatly, and usually by the time that we've drawn up a contract, the client has indicated exactly their requirements, so the cost within the contract is actually quite specific. With particular jobs like identity development, we also have what we call an identity questionnaire, which is just a set document which goes through a number of practical and aesthetic questions that try and help us ascertain, number one, what the client wants, but number two, what the scope of the job is for us. And actually within this document there is a question which asks specifically what is their budget and what they get for this. So within the last question they actually tell us exactly what they're prepared to pay and what elements of the job they want. Once the client signs a contract, we then basically go forward and do the creative work. The first stage would be for the job would normally be assigned a project manager, and within Splinter we only have project managers with design background. We feel this is very important. This individual would then be responsible for bringing in other designers within the company into a creative thinking session. And within this creative thinking session we will take the source documents that we've got, which are our questionnaire and also the notes made from the initial meeting with the client and any other research that the project manager has undertaken, and the individuals in the creative thinking session will then come up with various ideas. They'll look at the background, they'll make sure they all understand the background of the company, and then they'll start talking about different approaches and ideas that could be taken and any other relevant information they think is going to affect the creative aspects of the job. From that creative thinking session we'll then go away and produce 2 or 3 concepts, initial concepts for the client to look at. Now these initial concepts, whilst they won't be polished, they will certainly have enough visuals for the client to fully understand what the concept is and how it's going to be applied.